Hello, friends and family, and welcome to another episode of Saturday Morning Coffee and Conversation. It's been a couple of months. We have been on a little bit of a hiatus. We have had some exciting projects starting and ending and shifting and changing and transitioning. And so I'm super excited to be back here today with all of you. I hope everyone is doing wonderfully well and enjoying your Pride Month, enjoying your Saturday morning. Depending on where you are in the country, it is either very early or just slightly early. So I am unbelievably excited and honored to have our magnificent guest here today. James Bullard is just so many things: performer, traveler, entrepreneur. What does he call himself? Aggressively positive. It's just unbelievably wonderful to have this just ball of light in human form here with us today on the If You Could See Me Saturday Coffee and Conversation. James Bullard, welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, Erin. Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Good morning. I'm thrilled to have you. Okay, so many things. So many things that I want to talk to you about, that I want to ask you about. And first and foremost, though, I told you that I wanted to ask you this, and I wouldn't let you answer me when we were talking before the show because I wanted this to be authentic. One of the things that is central to the If You Could See Me project and to our sort of purpose in the world is the concept of taking up space, is the concept of allowing ourselves to be exactly who we are, to ask for what we need, to imagine the world that we want to inhabit. And so many of our participants have experienced so much pain in the world and so much trauma and so much silencing throughout their lives that it is so incredibly challenging to permit ourselves, and I will include myself in that, to do that. And this is something that is so inherent to who you are and to what you're all about, and it's so beautiful to witness. And I just want to start with, who empowered you to be able to take up space? And if it wasn't a person, how did you develop that?
Oh, wow. Okay, let's just jump right in. Okay. Honestly, I have been incredibly fortunate. I don't like using the word lucky. I don't think that really has a lot to do with most of this. It feels as though like people were placed into my life, or I have put out the kind of need. I have literally asked for certain things of my life and asked in earnest and authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you do something like that, it's literally as though the universe just places these people in your life around you to sort of crowd around you to make sure that I don't believe that any one person really is responsible for giving me the sort of impetus to move forward and move out and move onward with so many things and so many goals that I set for myself in my life and continue to do so as they grow and evolve.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that there are so many wonderful things to take from almost anyone and everyone that you come in contact with. Of course, there are always special ones. Of course, my friend Carrie, like we met very early on. We were talking about this earlier, and we've known each other for over 20 years now. That's 20 years of my life that I've known this person.
Mm-hmm.
And through my shortcomings, she has helped bolster me. And then whenever she felt she needed help, I was able to pay that favor back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things where you learn so much about yourself moving forward from each one of these people that you encounter, whether it's in the entertainment industry or sales or business or fitness, because that's all, it's a really big part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
These people show you the shortcomings, the lack that you have. And I want to make sure that I say that in a very positive way. It's not that I'm like, oh, I'm falling short. No, this is where I can improve. And I never would have known that if I hadn't run into this person who was that much better or exceeded that much farther in a shorter amount of time. And instead of operating from a place of envy. I operate from a place of almost awe or admiration, because it's so much like, not only are they so much better at this than I am in X amount of time, they still want to spend appreciable amounts of time with me because I am valuable to them in their own development or growth in perhaps different areas of their lives. It's about knowing your value to people that you admire that doesn't necessarily match in the same sort of categories, but still helps them along their journey. And it's just, it's being able, I don't get along with everybody. Okay, I'm just going to put that out there right now. I have some of the most kind-hearted, wonderful people in my life. It's like, oh, you get along with everybody. You're just such an easy person. Let me say something. That could not be farther from the truth. I love people, I do, but we have very differing opinions on things, and that really gets me into a froth sometimes. But knowing that, we can disagree very strongly on some things, but we can also take certain aspects of arguments or differences and continue to mold and evolve our own viewpoints so that I will, again, continue to move forward. That is the thing that I love the most about this journey that I'm on. Yes, my friends are incredible. I am so, so, so fortunate to have them in my life. But I think that the idea of travel and progress are the things that continue pushing me forward. It's just that the people I have in my life are literally sort of like the ball bearings, I guess, that continue to move this entire device forward. But it's the travel, it's the destination, it's where we're going next that continues to be sort of the pull.
Right.
They're just the grease on the wheels to make sure
exactly what I was just gonna say. I love that. Perfect alignment. So you grew up in a very small town.
Yes.
And it was sort of unfathomable to a lot of the people that you grew up around or that you were raised by, that you would want to leave that small town or go anywhere else. And I know that, you know, when my family and I decided to move across the country a year ago, very similarly, we had, you know, people go, why? Like, what is motivating? As if it was this, you know, like foreign concept that there is anywhere other than this place where we are. And while I love all of my people and I miss them, you know, greatly, I was listening to another podcast that you were on, and I heard you talking about, like, you know, the idea that, you know, there's all of this world out there to be seen and experienced. And, you know, I just was fascinated by that coming from where you came from. So can you talk about what the pull was to sort of go elsewhere and, you know, how that has guided you?
Sure. A very good friend of mine from back home, she and I went to high school together. Her name's Leanne Mott. It came up in my Facebook memories not long ago. She said, I'll never forget sitting at the lunchroom table with you one day, you, me, and another friend of ours. And you were talking about how you wanted to be a singer on a cruise ship. And we were just agog, like, to even think about this goal from where we are to where we thought you would have to be to get that. Like, it was unfathomable. And then you did it. You just went and did it. She says, and she's so good. She's still such an incredibly close friend of mine. We chat very often on social media. She's still in Birmingham, Alabama. And now I'm wherever in the world I am at any given moment. Right. And it's just so nice to be, you know, because it's a big step. Right. And the thing that I want to, and I've come up just a little bit of friction on these topics. And I just want to make sure that I say this briefly, but succinctly if I can. I don't hold any kind of problem with where I grew up. I love that place. It made me so much of who I am today with how I speak, how I interact with people, my perspectives, my attitudes. So much of that is nectar, Alabama, and I would never want anyone to think that I'm downing it. And
And
I have been so many wonderful places that have been able to build on that incredible foundation. I have not left those roots behind. What I have done is allow them to grow into this beautiful tree, watered in so many different places, amazing destinations all over the world that has just grown from that root. So whenever I say all these other places are wonderful, please know that I mean two. These places are wonderful too. I am not replacing anything with what I am putting into me. I am building on this incredible, solid foundation that was built in Nectar, Alabama. And I want to make sure if anybody there is listening, that's exactly where I'm coming from with this. I love the age in which we live right now because there's so much information literally flying at your face 24/7 from every direction. Your telephone, your computer, screens at the gas station. If you're in the back of an Uber or Lyft, there's literally so much stimulus coming at you. It's almost, you're inundated with these things. And it's just like anything else. You can take it positively or you can choose to dwell on the negative because there is an abundance of either. This beautiful thing that I keep seeing is there's two very impressionistic cartoon people standing side by side, and there's a very simple outline of one person, and then there's another person here that's very colorful and artistic and just filled with all these different things inside their silhouette. And the plain one says, "You've changed," and then the colorful artistic one over here is like, "We were meant to."
oh.
And I was like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny to me because people can say something to you that they think is an insult or an injury. And you just look at them and you're like, well, of course I have. Because that's how I was meant to be. I can't stay in one place. I can. I choose not to. But just because I leave doesn't mean I left because I wanted to get away.
Right.
Please understand, whenever I left, I wasn't running away.
Right.
I was running toward.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a siren song of an entire world that was just waiting to be discovered by some wide-eyed, moppy-headed, ridiculous kid that could no longer stay where he was. And because that desire was so strong, the universe literally opened up and says, cool, come here first. And from there, you'll go here. And from there, you'll go here. And you're going to get to see so much of these things that you always wanted to see. All you had to do was take the first step. Leave the rest to us. The first step is literally all you have to do because it is the scariest. Now, if going from here to Australia scares the bejesus out of you, awesome. What we're going to do is go to the next county. And once you get there, you're like, oh. And it just gets increasingly easier. And these distances continue to get proportionally smaller just because you took that first step.
That's it.
That's it.
That's all. It's all of it. Yeah. Is just imagining that there might be something more.
Not might. There is definitely something more. Am I brave enough to take the first step so that this all-caring, incredibly deep, benevolent spirit will lift me from my faith and carry me forward like I always asked for?
I feel like I'm in church. And I'm Jewish.
Thank you. What a wonderful compliment.
I love it. I love it. Church on a Saturday morning. Right? It's fantastic. So did you have travelers and adventurers in your life growing up, or did this grow completely out, organically out of, nothing?
I did. And that was the best part. But there weren't many, to be honest, because, again, we lived in this beautiful little country utopia paradise as far as we were concerned. Right. Like, we had hot biscuits and gravy on the table, usually 2 or 3 days out of the week. It was beautiful. It was idyllic, honest to goodness. Like, I lived in this gorgeous little tiny town. I graduated with 63 of Blount County's best from Cleveland High School a million years ago. It wasn't one of those things that you really looked outside because you felt like you had just about everything that you would need. Right. Mm-hmm. And plus, everyone in the community felt the same way, so you didn't know any different. Right. But there was this one amazing lady, and she was a trailblazer. She did exactly what she wanted all the time, and if you tried to cross her, she would bless you 3 ways to Sunday. Her name's Imogene Hilburn. She was my cousin Jeff's grandmother. And so she is somehow related to me. I don't know how that shakes out, but I will never forget. She went to Portugal on a trip, and she sent me a postcard of a Portuguese water dog. And that was the end of it. That was it. And it wasn't even that exciting a picture. I'll be honest with you. I remember it. I'm pretty sure I could find it for you if I needed to. I could dig it out of a box somewhere. It was a green patch of grass and this beautiful copper dog. And I looked him up, and I'm pretty sure they have webbed toes. And I think that may have been on the back of the postcard. But she sent me that from Portugal, and that was all she wrote. It was it. And I was like really young at the time. And then as I got a little bit older, I got into high school, and I had this incredible teacher, Amelia Vincent Fletcher. Amelia Watts Vincent Fletcher, if we want to go through the whole progression of it.
Right.
And she traveled all the time. And I know that she went to all these places. I want to say she went to Georgia. And it was so nifty to me. I was like, she went to Georgia. That's so cool. And then she had to explain to me in very slow words that, no, James, Georgia, not the neighboring state,
right.
The nation. And I was like, what? And it was just, she was an amazing educator, first and foremost. And then the fact that she was also this very subtle example on how anyone on any budget could do this if they prioritized correctly and just did it. And this was way before internet. Okay, this is way before you could like punch it into Google Flights or put it on Scott's Cheap Flights or any of this other kind of stuff. No. This was like in the days where you had to literally like call the airline or a travel agent. Like, and now it's so simple. It's so easy. It's almost criminally stubborn if you want to travel that you don't just pick up and go.
Wow. Criminally stubborn. I love that. I'm going to make a bumper sticker. Don't be criminally stubborn.
Right. Just click it. Go. Use your points. Put it on a credit card. It's fine. Yeah.
So there are so many facets to your life and to yourself and to the things that you do. And we don't need to go in chronological order necessarily. I'm more interested in philosophy, in how you approach your life, because I think we can all learn so much about courage. Where does that courage come from? Is it faith? Is it just born in you? Did you always just have this idea that you could just put your mind to something? And what I see is that, like in listening to you talk and kind of observing all the things that you do, what, from my perspective as a person who, kind of follows this, I wouldn't call myself a Buddhist, but I'm definitely influenced by Buddhism and Buddhist philosophy and this idea of sort of non-attachment and meeting life with a sense of curiosity instead of judgment, right? Like a mindful curiosity, which is something I teach a lot. Yes. And so, those two, when I see you and I hear you talk and I kind of witness the magnificence of your courage, that is what comes up for me, is that this is a person who has either inherently knows this or has developed this sort of skill of, like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go for this. I'm going to put this out into the world, and whatever happens, whatever the outcome is the outcome. But I'm putting my intention in the doing, in the being, in the process, in the moment, and meeting myself and the world with a sense of, childlike curiosity. And if I screw up or if I don't end up where I thought I would, then that there's no judgment there. That's just the path that was supposed to lay out in front of me.
Yes. To literally all of that. There was a question in there, and I'm getting.
I don't know. Just
I heard
go.
it. No, I heard it. No. I feel for people who are still on this path that have made this very finite point of their goal or their dream, because I was on that path for such a long, long time. And this amazing woman, my teacher, my friend, my mentor, Jen Waldman, taught me. She works very closely with Simon Sinek, which I think is wonderful because he is also someone to whom I look up tremendously, immensely. She gave me, like, for so long, Broadway was the goal for me. Like, go to New York, do the thing. You're not a success until you make it to Broadway. Everything else is just icing on the cake. But the cake, the main course, is getting that Broadway gig. Well, I talked to Jen Waldman. I'm in her presence for about a year or so. And then one day she's like, you know, I was on the hottest show on Broadway for X number of years. And then one day I just looked around and I decided that this isn't it anymore. And the whole thing just crumbled around me in the best way possible. Again, destruction is not always a bad thing. Tears are not always a bad thing. There's no bad or good to so much of what we go ahead and stick this like huge indelible sign on. No. Couldn't be further from the truth. Whenever you start to break down is whenever you get rid of that shell that's been keeping you the same size for however long you've insisted on staying this size. Your goals, your dreams are literally a constant flux of who you are, who you're becoming, what nourishes you the most, what advances this tremendous growth in your person, your spirit, your soul. And you've got to remain flexible and open to that. Just because your goal changes doesn't mean you ever gave up, doesn't mean you surrendered anything. It meant that you were wise enough and evolved enough and willing and open enough on your own journey to allow this new input to influence how much bigger and better it could be if you just let your natural talents and affinities grow into who you were meant to be. I'm not a fatalist. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that there's a predetermined path for everyone, but I'm saying that every step that you make literally draws the next 5 steps in front of you. And if you just continue this forward momentum, you're going to get where you're going, and it's going to be infinitely more rewarding and richer living if you just let yourself take that journey. Now, who, where, what, when, why this all started in here? Ed Bullard, I'll give him the first and foremost. That's my dad, Ralph Edward. He's the one who gave me this. And you can't see it because I'm sitting on it, but I have a large badonkadonk. Those are Ed Bullard. And all of this extra, this like, oh, it ain't bragging if you can back it up mentality. This immutable positivity, this uncontrollable need to just include and grab and entertain and whatever, that is my father. That is 100% him. And I admire him so much for what he was able to give to me. Now, there's a caveat to this. He did not expect me to do this with that.
He gave you all of it and expected you to stay there with them.
Totally different expectation.
And then you were like, bye. And he was like, wait a minute.
Hold the phone, Ed Bullard says. Ralph Edward is like, no. You were supposed to stay here and sell cars with me. You were supposed to marry a good little Alabama Baptist girl and make 17 babies and make me a pappy. And I make light of it, but I know this is really hard for him. And I want to make sure that I give him the honor for that too.
Yes.
I'm sorry that did not happen for you. I could not be happier with my life. I am so grateful for the life I get to live, for the way that it's turned out, the way it continues to unfold. I am eternally grateful. And I want him to know, if he's watching, he put this here. And though it didn't turn out the way he wanted, and I know that there are days that he's really, unhappy about it. I hope that he will take comfort in knowing that I am loving my life this much because of the way he did it. So, that being said, He is one of the best, slickest, smoothest salespeople you've ever met. On the telephone, you usually can't tell the difference between him and myself. And if we get really tickled, we sound identical, which is both great and awful. It's a donkey laugh, and we show every tooth in our head, and it's great. I can't help it. That's just the way it is. That's it. Right. Exactly. And why hide them? We spend a lot of money on these. Let's get them out.
Damn right.
But yeah. And again, building up on you. Yeah.
No, but you know what? I think that there's so much value in that, that I'm a parent. And I'm actually in this moment, I have a daughter that just graduated from high school a week ago and is going to college. And, I have a almost 16-year-old middle kid and then a 13-year-old. And so, my 16-year-old is already like, well, I need to live somewhere where there's palm trees and sun and, like there's no, I can't. I'm sorry. I know you guys love the Pacific Northwest, Mom, but it's too much clouds and rain, and it's June and it's 45 degrees in the morning. No, thank you.
Yeah.
And I think I came from a place very similarly, not as small a town, but certainly a place where, everybody kind of stays together. Right. And if you leave, it's like, why are you doing that? Not again. Everyone's sad that we're gone and love and support and, but it's difficult.
Yes.
And, so now I'm in this position of like imagining that, I keep thinking of that sort of proverb about, life is about planting seeds under whose branches
you will never enjoy.
Right. Like the idea that, I'm raising my children not to stay with me,
yes,
but to be enough themselves to be able to go out into the world and imagine that it can be whatever they want it to be.
Yes. And
that is both rewarding and also terrifying. And there is immense grief that, I've got an 18-year-old who's going to go to college in a few months. It is very much like, and I want her to go wherever she's going to go.
Yeah. And
encourage her to do so. And also, like every blue moon or every 20 minutes, just find myself bursting into tears going, oh God, and she's going to be, and, and I can only just hope that that we've done a good enough job and that, she's going to go out into the world and make her way and figure it out. They all are.
And that's the best part. That's exactly what happens. Mm-hmm. We always have this terrible thought, all of us, not just a parent, but literally everyone. If I take that step, am I going to trip and fall and break my face?
Right.
So few steps in the whole flipping world, all of existence ever, end in a broken face.
It's true.
So few. So few. And what you were saying a minute ago, it's so beautiful. And it's one of those things like I was mentioning earlier, like we put so many labels on so many things, this is so terrible. But how wonderful to experience this depth of emotion, this wild swing of feelings where so many people have this flat line. You get this glorious roller coaster.
Oh, that's the understatement of the year.
Right, exactly. Because I know so many people out there, especially after the last 3 years that we've all lived through, are on this flat line. Let me feel something. Let me feel anything. Careful what you wish for, kids.
Right. It's true.
Because the depth of emotion that comes with a melancholy can be so much more colorful, so much more nuanced and deep than a joy. That if you ask for something, it will be delivered in abundance, kids. You got to ask right. You got to ask specific, okay? And I'm using that incorrectly, and I know it specifically. No,
I like it. You got to ask
specific. You've got to jot and tittle. You've got to semicolon. You've got to make sure that everybody listening, capital E, knows what you're asking for.
Right.
Otherwise, they're going to deliver what you're asking in abundance, and you may have to step up to handle it.
Yep.
But we will be stronger because of it. Sorry.
Well, that's the thing, is that, you know, I do think that there is, like, whatever happens, you get to choose, right? Like, do I meet this? Or do I avoid this? And in all honesty, there's space for both, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
we get to decide the magnitude of which we take on whatever the challenge is.
Yes.
And, you know, I look at your life and all of these big, bold choices that you've made, which are, you know, incredibly inspiring. And I also know that, you know, I needed to sit still for the time that I sat still, right? Like, I started my life running, right? Like, just, I'm going to go here and I'm going to go here. And every time it feels uncomfortable, I'm just going to run away from it, right? And I'm not in any way suggesting that is what you did, but that was my journey, right? That was my journey. And so learning to sit and learn how to be uncomfortable, learn how to push through the fear and the discomfort of that was the biggest lesson of my life for 20 years.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I realized that okay, if I go, am I running? Or have I, you know, surmounted that mountain?
Yeah.
It was only after I realized, oh, no, I'm walking towards something. I'm moving towards something. I'm not running away from something anymore.
Yeah.
And that was when it felt okay for me to pick it all up and, you know, load up a U-Haul and go. That was, you know, that was a back and forth that I had with myself for many years.
Yep. And I think a lot of people deal with that. And the more we talk about it, those of us who are doing it and realize what it is that we're doing and why, the more we can all kind of figure out, okay, am I doing this because I'm running towards something else or away from where I am?
Right. Right. And what will be different there?
Right. Exactly. And that's the best part too. People, I don't mean to use people. When I say people, I mean this guy and everybody else that wants to play along. Sometimes I have to go somewhere else to realize where I am is where I was meant to be. And that is also very valuable because you go there and you give it, like, I encourage everyone to do at least 90 to 100% wherever it is that you're going, whatever it is that you're doing. Save some for yourself.
Right.
That's where that 90 comes in. But then 100%, like, I want to be fully integrated into what it is that I'm doing so that I am giving it my 100%, my all. If it does not serve, there is no burnt bridge. There is no chasm between you and where you've come from saying that you can't go back. Now, granted, it will be different because you will have changed in that time that you spent in the new destination. But whenever you go back, it will be there waiting on you. And it will be a different experience, but it will probably be what you know to be, what you needed when you left.
Right.
Wow.
Yep.
That was a sentence.
No, but it's so true. I mean, that was, you know, my experience in my early 20s moving to New York. Right. Like, my whole life I spent thinking, well, I'm going to be on Broadway. I'm going to be an actress. I'm going to be a singer. I'm going to, you know, do this because this is one, the only thing I'm good at. And two, the thing that has been, you know, sort of conditioned into me. This is what you do. This is who you are. This is your whole identity.
Your identity. Exactly.
Your whole identity is this, the girl who stood on the hearth and performed for the family. And, right. Like, you will do this. Because not only is this who you are a presentation or a representation of who we are as a family. Right. And this is very important.
Well, and if you're going to go that far away, you better make something out of it. And we will accept nothing less than blah, blah, blah.
Yes. And I went and I realized very quickly that this is not what I want. And then I went, oh, shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of put all my eggs into this basket, and this
Yeah.
is not what I want. I want to perform. I want to be creative. But I don't want to play this game.
Right.
I
Oh,
cannot
man.
play. I am not built for this game.
Yup. Yup. Oh,
I
boy, I
am
hear
not
that.
built to sit at a bar or at an event and have the person I'm talking to constantly looking over my shoulder, seeing who's more important coming in the door. I
Uh-oh.
need authentic connection from people,
Yes.
and I will not ever get that.
Right.
Or it will be a long time. And once I'm there, will I even realize that it's authentic, or will it ever be authentic?
Yes.
I couldn't reconcile that. I'm
Yes.
to like an open wound. Like I'm just like one big nerve, right?
Yeah.
I don't have the thick skin.
And to add to that, I love this new thing that a friend of mine told me. It's the sacred and. Yes, and.
That's
The
right.
button I don't like to play anymore.
Nope.
And I have made some of the strongest connections and some of the
Yes.
deepest friendships I have ever had in my entire life through my life and performance.
Of course.
And
Absolutely.
I just want to make sure that I give homage to that. Yes, what you're saying, 100% true, because I've been at that party. I have been that guy who's got like the extra pair of eyeballs looking over his shoulder, seeing who just came in the door, and is that person more advantageous to talk to than my current audience.
Right.
Noted. And some of my most colorful, insightful, wise, intelligent, talented, amazing people in my whole life came from my life upon the Wicked stage. And she is wicked. Yeah.
She is. Absolutely. And that was my argument then.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That was what I felt then. I felt very alone. I felt very isolated. I felt very inferior, or and it didn't have anything to do with my ability. It just had to do with feeling alone.
Yes.
And disconnected.
Insecure.
Yeah.
That was mine.
From everything. Right.
Yes.
Right. And not ever knowing how to kind of get the foothold, and just really quickly realizing I don't need this badly enough to sacrifice everything else.
Yep.
Well, right? I wanted all the other things that I then went back and did. And because it's funny that you say the sacred and, because one, yes, and because improv. but also dialectical behavior therapy is very much as a foundation of the work that I do as a therapist. And it is based in the understanding that two things can be true simultaneously, and that we cause ourselves a lot of harm when we say, if this is true, like if pain exists, then healing can't. Yes. Right? Or possibility can't. If I have experienced this, I am harmed. I am feeling pain. Yes. Or I am happy, but I got, I grew up in a bad place. Right? So I can't have that because this happened. Right? Or this, and that's where suffering comes from.
Yes.
Right. The idea that if one thing is true, another thing can't be true. And so
severely limiting.
Replacing, but it is the center of so much that, gets in our way. And it is like, it's one of these things that is so simple conceptually and takes a lifetime to internalize.
Yes. Agreed. Yeah.
So when you talk about the sacred and, it is very much a foundation of the work that we do here at the If You Could See Me project.
Good.
Well, because we say, come to the table and share your story. Like, yes, this happened, or all of this happened. And you are allowed to be seen. You are entitled to be seen. You deserve to not live in silence, to not be silenced. And that can be such a like foreign concept. to someone who has been said your experience, who's been told their entire lives, much like I was after, many things, your experience or how you experience the world is making me uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Please don't do that.
Well, and something that I think a lot of people don't get to hear and they need to know, if your visibility isn't enough of your own benefit, please know that your visibility is helpful to so many others. Yeah. Because they don't know there are others dealing with similar or identical situations. Right. And they are going through the exact same thing. Your visibility is a beacon to others who do not realize they are not alone. Mm-hmm. So even though at this point in your process, you may not feel enough of your own worth to be visible for yourself, please know you are not in this boat alone. Mm. Your light is going to bring all of the people in your boat safely to shore. Mm.
I don't feel this way. And I have to imagine that at some point in your life, you have been told at least once that you're a lot.
Oh, wow.
or too much.
Oh, gosh.
And how does that fall on you? Because I've gotten that my entire life. So,
oh, absolutely. No.
I just
and that's
that.
Well, that's another reason why we were probably performers, because we fall into this group of people who are probably very similar in their extraness.
Yes.
Oh, man, I live for it. Because when people come to me with something like that, I said, okay. I mean, it is not the insult you think it is. And I don't say that to throw it in their faces. It's not like that at all. It's just like, great. I understand that I'm not everyone's flavor. Mm-hmm. And if you need me in small doses, that is absolutely fine. One of my closest friends in the world, he and I spent 2 hours on a WhatsApp call. He's living in St. Martin right now. And he's like, Bullard, I got to tell you. He says, you're a lot. He says, I would talk to you more often if you weren't so blankety blank much. I was like, yeah, bud. And quite frankly, that's great, because I think once a month is more than sufficient for us to have these conversations.
I don't actually need to talk to you anymore.
I don't need to talk to you any more than that, because I want to reach through the internet and choke his little eyeballs right out of his skull. Like, you are not listening to a blessed word. You continue to loop back to the beginning, even after I've given you multiple examples and chats about this whole thing. Like, I was like, nah. I would rather live in abundance than starve to death trying to meet someone else's expectations by lowering myself. I am not a big man. I am 5'9". I'm 185 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal. That's just what it is. And people are going to giggle at that, and I love it. I invite your laughter, please. I need you to know that the man I am exceeds what you see whenever you meet me. There is so much more than what is in this meat puppet that walks around doing his dead level best to try to make somebody smile a little bit. Right. I'm okay with it. I really am. It's just one of those things like, James, you're always on. I said, yeah. And then I sleep. You're welcome. You get that 8 hours of downtime before I'm back at it. And this helps no one.
Right. No.
And I am abundantly thrilled to live at the bottom of an empty coffee cup.
Thank you. Amen.
So it's just like, in a world where extra can either be aggressively negative, tearing someone down, dissatisfied with literally every aspect of what a lot of people would consider to be a pretty incredible life. Mm-hmm. I will choose the opposite of that. I will look at all of the things I've been able to experience, the incredible friends that I have, the opportunities that have literally been laying at my feet because I have been bold enough to ask for them. And I will not stifle this excitement, this zeal, this overwhelming thankfulness that I continue to leave myself open for more. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's enough. No. Thank you. This has been incredible. I look forward to seeing what is next. It's not from a place of greed. It's a place of gratitude. And
excitement.
humble
Yeah.
expectation, if
Mhm.
I could offer it like that, it's like, great, because I did so much with the opportunity I was given
Right.
in my expectation, in my perception. I hope that whatever's next, I meet with such fervor and aplomb so that I can continue receiving these opportunities and exceeding the expectations of those, capital T, who gave them to me.
Mm. Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Being fully owning fully your extraness.
Owning it. Well, all of
As
it.
right. As opposed to allowing that to become, which, amen to you for having whatever cosmic skill or ability or whatever it is to be able to do that, because that has not been my experience, right? Like
Yeah.
it has been so challenging for me to find sort of a comfortable space between embodying myself fully
Yeah.
and overcoming that that label or that thing that was kind of put on me early on, that I know a lot of our folks who come through this project experience, that you're hard to love,
Mm.
right? Like you're
Ouch.
so much of your experience of the world, and I'm not saying I'm saying
Sure.
me your and our your
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so much of how you experience of the world makes you difficult to love, makes it
Oh,
hard for me to share space with you because of your extensive emotional experience of the world, because of
yeah.
not only how emotionally you experience negativity, but also conversely how passionately you experience the things that you love.
Yeah.
And that is overwhelming to me, and I don't know how to process how you operate.
Yeah.
And so then, me going, okay, well, I can't not be passionate about things.
Thank you.
And I also can't put myself in these environments where that is not of value.
Yes. That
Right? Because
is
that
incredibly
hurts.
difficult. It does. Well, and it's hard to hear something like that.
Yeah.
Because of you living fully, it makes it difficult for me as your partner, lover, however you want to define it, to share space with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'll be honest again, so fortunate that the people with whom I have been able to spend time like that have been so receptive to it. They have
Mm-hmm.
described my love, if that is, I mean, that just seems so, my partnership, my attention, my
Right.
affection, like all of these things that go into these things that we make love to be,
Mm-hmm.
as refreshing or unusual, unique, and not
Mm-hmm.
in any kind of connotation except positive. Like I have heard from women that I've dated in the past, and they have told me, and there is no greater compliment, that even things didn't work out between us.
Mm-hmm.
I've received messages to say, I grew so much while we were together
Mm-hmm.
because of how you treated me and because
Mm-hmm.
of also how you insisted that you were treated. Because I
Mm-hmm.
am fiercely independent,
Right.
fiercely
Mm-hmm.
independent. I am incredibly doting and generous with my affection and love and things like that, but I also need my own time.
Mm-hmm.
And I have one amazing woman in particular. She called me Lupo Solitario. She was from Italy, and she called me the lone wolf. She says, Bibi, I never worry about you cheating on me. She says, I just don't feel like you need me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big punch to take.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I want you to know that's a good thing.
Right.
I don't wake up needing you. I
Right.
wake up
Wanting you.
choosing
Right.
you.
Mm-hmm.
And she said these wonderful things. She says, I was a better girlfriend, partner, love, whatever you want to call it, moving forward after dating you, because I realized my expectations were not necessarily where they needed to be moving forward. But now I think I am better prepared to be a better partner. It stinks that it didn't work out. It is a compliment beyond compare to hear that from a former partner, that you have put them in a better place for whoever comes next. That's what I want. I want to leave a relationship, if I must, in a place where both of us are better prepared for whoever is a better fit moving forward.
And again, we go back to this just beautiful sort of embracing, and you're probably not doing it on purpose. It just is who you are. But this embracing of a sense of non-attachment, like wherever I am. And I don't mean like I'm not attached. You're not attached to the people in your life, but you're not attached to outcomes. Like I am where I am. I am fully in where I am in this moment. And if it continues forever, mazel tov.
Yes.
And if it doesn't, then, you know, whatever is next is what is next.
Yes. Another amazing woman, this one Australian. She and I met on a cruise ship, and we spent the most incredible, and I know how this is going to sound, but I promise you it's better than it sounds. We spent the most incredible 2 weeks together because it was a crossing, and that was just the amount of time that I had on this ship.
Right.
And we got so close, so fast, so deep, so wonderful. And she is an incredible human being. Whenever we left, we had a pretty wide age difference. Neither here nor there. It's a number. I don't even care. But I told her, I said, I fully intend when I leave to ruin you for other men. Ruin, because I have not felt something like this in a long time. And for a while after, it was probably very similar to that. And then it came to a point where she started seeing other people, and it got to a point where it was hurtful. And so I just sort of like made my exposure to her social media or her or whatever, just a little bit less, just so that I didn't have to see it. And she wrote me, she said, are you okay? I said, I'm fine. I said, and I need you to know that you and I are fine in the new relationship we have now. I said, but I have no need to see you with these other men. I said, I want you to be with these other men. I said, I will not be the reason you are resentful later because you were saving yourself for maybe if. I said, we live on the opposite side of a planet. Okay. I said, I make no illusions that this is difficult at most. If it's meant to be, it will come back around. But I have no expectation of you not living your life fully until that day comes back around, if it ever does. And she was like, how can you be so coy about this? How can you be so cool? It's like, I'm not. Trust. It's just that I realized that it would be better for me to completely let you go than to try to grasp at you and you resent me eventually and still lose you. It's about what the big goal is here. What is the end game of this so that both of us are better, stronger, fuller people? And then she just got huffy. She says, you don't have to be so mature about it.
Well, but that's, you know, I mean, like sometimes we want to be in our despondence about things. We want, you know, we want someone to pine after us. We want that wanting to, you know, to consume the other person. And that's not to say that it wasn't consuming, which is exactly why you stopped with the social media, because in addition to the wanting, you were also wanting to be fair.
Yes.
And not put yourself through a bunch of torture and pain, but also not put her through that.
Right.
And, you know, I think it's such, you know, what you are highlighting here is the, you know, the number of choices that we have throughout our lives to be in misery or to embrace, that season's end. And some seasons may only last a couple of weeks, but they can be life-changing.
Yes.
And, there are so many different factors I want to point out that, that keep people from being able to, pull themselves out of those places, and, modeling mental illness, significant trauma, out of control nervous systems, because we are a place that holds space for the entire human experience. And it is, the things you are talking about are things that people spend lifetimes trying to learn and internalize and develop even a fraction of what you are presenting to us today. I have a job both as the founder of the If You Could See Me project and as a therapist. I have a job that is, never going to not be needed because of how challenging it can be to internalize these things that you have built your life around. And it is a beautiful example. You are like the golden representative of like all the healthiness that, and I am by no means saying that that it's easy, right? Because it's not easy, right? Like what you're talking about requires an immense amount of focus and effort and intention. You do a thing, and I always talk about this, in all the groups. You show up to your life, to your goals, to whatever is in front of you. You show up to it 100%.
Thank you. That's all I have to give.
Mm-hmm.
I, as far as I know, that's all I've got is this one shot. And it's just like live every moment thing. No. Like be present in that moment.
In the moment, right.
Be fully aware and accepting of all the things that are happening around you in that moment, to your capability, of course.
Right.
And just like live in it. Because there are so many things literally happening in every snapshot of every day of your life. I'm crossing the street yesterday. I have 7 seconds left in the little blinking red light underneath the guy that says don't walk. Some little old man in an SUV says, "Can't you see the sign?" It's like, sir, I've still got 7 seconds. Why are your panties up your crack? I don't understand where the problem is here. It's just so funny to me because I'm just like, that is a snapshot. It is this beautiful, my buddy BJ, I tell him all the time, I said, I want to live in movie moments. Not that all of them have to be, because God knows you got to breathe sometime. But it's just one of those things where I'm literally toting my Starbucks, shaking the ice at the bottom of the can. This guy's hollering at me with his mask around his chin in his own car. I'm like, are you serious right now? What even is this? It's just, even the small moments, even
It's
these
joy,
tiny,
right.
insignificant things, all have a kernel, a brilliantly shining seed of what you could consider to be a significant moment in your life. And it's just like, okay, am I just letting them pass by? Am I sticking my face in my phone? Am I waiting for the next big trip? No. What I'm doing is trying to make sure that I'm tuned into all of this glorious ridiculous that we just happen to call a life happening around me, to me, because of me, in me, near me, so that I can be a main player or at least a sensible co-star in this whole thing.
Right.
It's just like, yeah.
No, it's yes to all of it, James. You are just like joy embodied. And I don't say that lightly. I think we live in a really, really complicated moment, right? And it's not like all moments throughout history haven't been complicated for someone or some group of people. And we are living through a sort of collective roller coaster of social and global trauma. And so joy can be particularly hard to come by.
Yes.
And And so choosing it has to be the path.
Yeah.
Right? Like we have to decide that at the very least, we're going to find joy. I can't fix climate change. I can't fix racism. I can't fix homophobia. I can't fix whatever the hell is happening in Congress. I can't, I can vote, I can contribute, I can be a part of it, but I can't fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't be consumed by it either.
Correct.
And continue to, to walk the earth.
Function.
Right. Exactly.
Not just walk, but like there's so much to be angry, hurt, disappointed, despondent about in our current situation, especially as Americans. It is, I admire folks getting up in the morning.
Right. Exactly. Well, and that's one of the things that we talk about a lot. One of the little exercises that I do with clients and if you could see me is called the tiny wins list.
Okay.
Because we are conditioned to only celebrate the end. Yes. The having accomplished the big thing, right? Yeah. The having lost the a total amount of weight, having finished the degree, having made it to Broadway, having, the $1 million in the bank, having, all having, where is it? I don't know. Having published the book, which is here somewhere that and what we don't do is show up to celebrate the literal millions of tiny choices.
Yes.
Tiny successes.
Yes.
That all of our major accomplishments are built on. Like if you didn't show up, if you didn't get out of bed, if you didn't take that shower, if you didn't walk out the door, then you wouldn't be able to celebrate the book deal. You wouldn't be able to get up on the stage or travel the world or all of those things, right?
Yes.
And so we, in building a self-compassionate model for ourselves to navigate this horribly mean and unfair world, that starts with, I got out of bed.
Yes.
Right? Like I put my feet on the floor.
Well, and the thing that I think people don't realize is that the universe and all of her infinite wisdom is trying to make you, the capricious meat puppet, happy.
Capricious meat puppet.
And whenever you offer gratitude for these tiny steps, whenever you celebrate these tiny steps that lead you towards your goal, that literally gives her the signal, I'm on the right path. Right. This makes me happy. I know that this is going to move me toward this grander goal that I have in my heart and in my mind and will be so incredibly excited to reach. Oh, well, then let me throw a few more other things in the path that are going to get you closer to this faster in record time. When you offer that gratitude, that celebration, that moment of joy for reaching those tiny milestones, it sharpens the focus of the gift the universe is literally conspiring to give you. She's that really rich maiden aunt that wants to give you the perfect birthday present, but has no idea where to start.
Right.
She just has a sack full of cash and she's like,
you want some?
Give me a clue. Give me a clue. Where are we starting? What are we doing?
Right.
And for whatever reason, she's like, ugh, and you're getting all like weird and wobbly and stupid and crazy and unfocused and whenever you would just breathe, take the first step, and just literally that breath, that moment, that pause to realize that you started the journey towards your goal is the first clue. And she starts peeling those hundies out of her sack.
Oof. Oh,
it's really so simple.
I know, but you just like you just glossed. You said it, and you glossed over the hardest part in that, and it's at least the hardest part for me.
Okay,
and I imagine others. because now you are like my goal, right?
Oh,
Like
wow.
approaching life from your perspective is like, oh, this is how you do it. Okay, great. Fantastic. Fantastic. So it's the thing you talked about, right? Like I don't know I can't, how much can I ask for? What is, I don't like the idea of like, no, don't tell
Yes.
me I can have things, because
Right.
then I have to imagine that, and then I have to take up space, and then I
Yes.
have to ask, and then you could tell me no. You could say that's too much. How dare you ask for so much of the universe?
Yes, exactly. And the fact is, she is infinite. Capital I. She has no bounds, and she is only growing larger by the day, by the millisecond. The infinity, there is no bound to the abundance in her capability, and yet still we hide in our turtlenecks. I love that visual, because that is so very perfect for exactly what we do. We cringe, we cower, we are so afraid to ask for something whenever we are not even a lepton in the grand scheme of the abundance that waits. It's so funny to me, because it's just like, I continue to ask, because every time I receive, and it is often, and I am not embarrassed or shy or ashamed to say it, I ask for more, because when I receive, it is in such a spirit of gratitude and thankfulness. It is not an imposition to the universe that I continue to ask for more, whether of the same or something different or something completely unexpected, because by now she and I know each other pretty well. She just throws something at me, and I'm like, okay,
Right.
okay,
If you say so.
great, because it's faith in her benevolence that continues me moving in either a similar or a brand new trajectory. I had no idea I was going to love as much as I do, but now I'm standing here, I'm like, this is pretty flippin' cool. Okay, cool. I'm glad I jumped on this train.
I believe,
Yeah,
right?
I
I
believe.
believe. I trust.
Even less. Yes.
I accept. I allow.
Mm-hmm.
I am
Because
open to.
they've already given you the verb. All you have to do is accept. It's literally one word. It's yes. It's an affirmation. One syllable. Yes. It's already literally lying in front of you. All you have to do is be bold enough, brave enough, and like you're saying, take your space. It's there waiting on you. It's not like you even have to take it.
Right.
Like you said, allow it, because it's sitting there waiting for you. It's literally monogrammed. It is no one else's. What is meant for me can only be mine. I must be bold enough to accept it.
Let's just sit in that for a second. So, I've kept
A needle pulling thread. Sorry, I cannot resist
No.
that. I love that joke. Okay, go ahead. You can take the man out of musical theater, but you can never take the MT out of the guy.
Yesterday, because you and I are so aligned. Yesterday, Carrie and I were in a production meeting. So for everyone, Carrie is our production manager. Carrie is the connection between James and I. Carrie and James, as he said in the very beginning of the show, have been friends for 20 years. Carrie is the other half of my brain, and is just like, she's all the things. But we were in a production meeting yesterday, and she said something that I don't even remember. Carrie, if you're still here, remind me if you know what it is. She said something, one word. I genuinely don't remember what the word is, but I know that she said the one word, and I broke into a song from Dear Evan Hansen.
Yeah.
One word.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, well, this is who I am. Unfortunately, she's a theater kid too, so she gets it. But yes, I was just like, one word, and we're right in it, and jazz hands and everything. We just got to make it happen.
Absolutely.
So,
There is nothing more fulfilling to me, and this is so much to admit, but like we defined it earlier, I am extra to the extreme. When I shower after a show and find a sequin in the drain, that lets me know I did what I came to do. Yep.
I love you so much.
The feeling is mutual. I am feeling a serious connection right now. It makes me thrill.
I am so grateful that we have had this time together. I'm sorry I kept you 10 minutes long. I could keep you 10 hours long. But I just want you to know how much I appreciate, one, just your presence on this earth.
Thank you.
And, you know, and in this moment, your presence here with me talking about all of this stuff, you've given, you know, me and our audience so much to think about and imagine. I know for me in my own mental health journey, I will spend the rest of my life working toward what you lay out here.
Thank you.
You know, because, you know, trauma and mental health and all the things do make it hard to trust the universe.
Yes.
Right? They do make it hard to imagine that you can be safe.
Yes.
And that, I'm going to get emotional, and that you are allowed to take up space safely in this world.
Yes.
And so, as much as this is a both and situation, right? Like everything you say is 100% true. And for us in this space, we have to be reminded of it so frequently. Yes. We have to be told and given permission to be alive.
Yes.
And to be here. And to be seen in exactly the way we are.
Yes.
That, you know, this is such a gift to be able to talk about everything that you have brought here for us today, and to also hold space for how fucking scary it is to believe that that can be true.
Yes.
And I appreciate you so much for giving us that opportunity. And I'm sorry for crying, but
no,
that's what
not
I
at
do.
all. I keep a hanky right here. It is literally right here by the microphone.
This is what I do.
Good.
I talk and I cry, and then I talk some more.
I feel it. I got you. It's fine. It's 100% great. If I may say just one more thing, I know that we're trying to wrap up here because we're trying to stay within a constraint.
It's all good.
What you had said earlier, and I need to say this for my benefit and for anyone else who's going through this, we are in a very dark time in world history, in American history specifically, because it's so much closer for us. And sometimes radiating that joy that you feel because certain aspects of your life are going so very well, it will incur a sense of guilt that you are feeling this intensity of a positive emotion when so many others are going through so much sadness, trauma, disappointment, so many of those other darker emotions that we described earlier. I need to say it for myself, and I need to make sure that I leave that open for everyone else that happens to have those really brilliantly shining points of joy or happiness or gratitude or any of those other things that literally mean all exactly the same thing. They're just different shades of the same color. You have to express it loudly. I have to express it loudly, because if we don't, the colors of those darker emotions will continue to become more opaque.
Yes.
It will be harder for people to see through them and past them to get to the joy that you are lucky enough to experience at that moment. So take that moment and, as best as you know how, express it as specifically as you know how to the people who will magnify it, who will amplify it, and who will shine it around them, because people need it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy because that little vampire is going to say that you are rubbing people's faces in your joy
Mm-hmm.
when people need the nuzzle of that warmth and light against their skin so they can pull out of whatever darkness they may find themselves.
We need it all.
Need it all. Need it all. And just because this is a dark time, it doesn't mean that you can't be the light at the end of somebody's tunnel.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, James.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so you're my friend now.
Absolutely. Wholeheartedly. Because I saw you see that title of show reference. I saw you see that. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I so appreciate you. And I am so inspired and excited by this conversation that we've had today. Now I'm going to go to Costco and I'm going to go buy clothes for my children to prepare them for their summer vacation. And I am going to find joy in all that shit.
Absolutely. Costco's amazing. If you get those little like dark chocolate sea salt caramels that come in the cylinder, oh, you are hard pressed to find something better to go with this here cup of hotel coffee.
Hotel coffee. Is there one place where people can find you and find how amazing you are, or are there a couple of places? We're going to share it all, but tell us what is happening for you right now and what is the most important thing for you.
At this very moment, I'm in this glorious little burg of Woodstock, Ontario, because we are performing with my guys, Oh What a Night. You can find us online at www.ohwhatanighttribute.com. It's a Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons tribute band, and we are performing at the Walters Music Venue, which is an incredible blessing because, of course, COVID. So for the last 3 years, they've had their doors closed. And the first act on that stage, when they opened the doors, whenever the world began to move forward into the new normal, was my group. And so we're there with this incredible family of entertainers that are known all throughout Canada, and we love them, and they are so good to us, and we get to sing our shows for them 6 days a week, and we'll be here for another week. We've got an evening show tonight at 7:30. Another show that I do with the same production company is called 4x4 Tribute. And it's another tribute band that does Beatles, Beach Boys, Bee Gees, and Motown. And whenever I find a sequin stuck to my butt, it's usually from the Bee Gees section in that band. So you can find us online at 4x4tribute.com. I travel the world with my buddy Andrew. We have an adventure blog and an Instagram and all these other kind of things. And you can find us at theadventuredudes.com or on Instagram at theadventuredudes or on Facebook at theadventuredudes. Sensitive content warning. We often take many pictures in fabulous locations in our underpants because we can. We also know how the internet works. Go check it out. So. And then if you just want to see me specifically, it's jamesebullard.com. So you can go there to see where I am because I got a lot of great stuff coming up. We're going to be in Canada for the next week. So that's wonderful. I go back to Las Vegas, which is where I live now, and I'll be there for the month of July. August, I'll be traveling to Amsterdam to see my buddy Walter tie the knot with his fiance, Hester. Can't wait for that. September is going to be my 40th birthday bashes of my friend Chris in Seattle. And then in August, I plan to travel to Romania for a Halloween party at Dracula's Castle.
Goodness gracious.
No moss over here on this Rolling Stone, kids.
I'm tired. Thank you so much. Everybody check James out. He has one of the most gorgeous falsettos you've ever heard. He's amazing in all the different facets and aspects of his life. Thank you to Carrie Lynch for making this wonderful connection and for all that she does for the If You Could See Me project. Thank you to Rob Targos for helping us out today. Y'all check us out at ifyoukouldseeme.com, at IYCSM on Facebook, right here where we are, the If You Could See Me project on Instagram. And please consider becoming a Patreon subscriber to help us not only get this wonderful content out, but also to help us continue being able to offer affordable and often free storytelling project work throughout the country. I wish you all an amazing, amazing month. Enjoy the rest of your Pride Month, folks. And I will be back here in July.
Thank you, Erin. It was wonderful to be here. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you so much, James. Bye, y'all.